come and sun may go, he will surely bless. When the one that left us here returns for us at last.
How old is he? 23. He could play older. Or younger.
Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Give a smile. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Right now. Right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, red, wild, or blue?
Teak.
Thank you, Grace.
Dean from Century Pictures. Teak Howell from Hayloft, Kansas. It is Hayloft, isn't it?
That's close enough.
Hello, Teak. I enjoyed your performance very much.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Dean.
Miss Dean.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I thought I heard. I was just double-checking.
Teak likes to get his facts straight. Now, close your ears for a minute, love. Laura and I have to talk about you. Now, when do you want to see him do a scene?
Oh, Grace, you don't waste any time, do you?
What's 10% of wasted time?
Teak, I think you have a very exciting quality.
He really turns the girls on.
But Grace knows what the situation in Hollywood is right now. There's very little film production, so we're going easy on signing any new talent.
So what you're trying to say is that you would pass something like this up because things are temporarily slow.
I am interested, but I'm afraid things will have to wait.
Well, don't you think you ought to get Mr. Bracken down here to see it?
Yes. Yes, I'll try to get Mr. Bracken down here some night.
Well, I sure would appreciate that, ma'am.
And she'll get him.
Well, I better get going. I have a long drive out to the beach. Thanks for dinner, Grace. It was marvelous. And Teak, it was very nice meeting you.
It was my pleasure, ma'am.
Good night.
What's her job?
I charge talent.
You know something, Grace? I got a feeling that Miss Dean is going to do me a lot of good.
No, if Jenny can't get out of the play for 10 weeks, I cannot guarantee the schedule. We'll have to recast.
You're making a terrible mistake, John.
Laura, no star is more important in the picture. Not anymore.
It's not that she's a star. It's that she can play the part better than anyone else.
All right, all right. You find out how many weeks she can give us, and we'll go from there.
Oh, Laura, I'm glad I caught you.
Douglas?
Bracken. Oh, this could concern you. Things are beginning to happen for Teak. I got a firm offer for him for a feature.
Teak Howell is Grace's new client.
Oh, I see. Let me know as soon as you get word about Jenny. Mrs. Douglas?
Mr. Bracken?
You have a firm offer for a feature?
Yeah.
Well, Grace, grab it.
Well, it's just I think it would be better if he got in here.
I told you we're not signing anyone at the moment. Now, look, I've got an appointment inside. I'll see you there, Grace.
Laura? Laura, look. There are certain things Bracken has to say. All of his people have to say, for the record, you know?
Grace, we are not signing anyone.
But they said the same thing about my Paulette before they signed her. And then it was an economy way.
Well, this time, I'm afraid it's really close.
Honey, look, now who in their right mind is going to turn down $1 million, right? I'm offering you a star for the 70s. Now, you have an eye. You've seen him, you know.
I'll admit that he has great impact and he is contemporary.
You see, I knew it. And it only makes me feel twice as good to know that someone in your position feels exactly the way I feel.
Grace, please. I do not want to encourage you. Now, good luck on that feature that Teak's been offered. I'll be interested to hear what happens to him.
I'll call you tomorrow.
I know my mother can be a pain, but she believes in Teak Howell. Oh, she's pretty tenacious, Paulette. It's been called chutzpah. Oh, I guess that's what makes an agent good. Well, if it is, she's going to be one of the best. Look what she did for you. When your contract came up for renewal, she asked for the studio. Don't you think he's cute?
Who?
Teak. Now, don't you start. Laura, Mother's been pushing me all these years. I think it's time I did something for her.
Ah, so that's why you asked me to lunch.
Sure. Next time it's on you.
Okay. Well, thanks for the lunch, Paulette. I've got to run. I'll see you, honey.
Bye-bye.
Miss Dean.
Teak, hello.
Hey, mind if I walk with you?
No, not at all.
Grace Douglas talked to you yet?
About that picture offer? Yes, I'm delighted for you.
She told me about Mr. Bracken and about him not being too friendly to the idea of Teak Howell.
It's not that he's unfriendly toward you personally.
Oh, I know, it's okay. I just wanted to come and see you and tell you how much I appreciate what you've done.
I didn't do anything.
No, you did. You gave me your courtesy, and in this town, that's a whole lot. You made me feel good. Like maybe I mattered some, not like I was just an old piece of livestock at some auction somewhere.
Has that been your experience since you've been here?
Well, not with the kids at the club. I mean, who come into the club. No, they're out of sight. But it's this business, I guess. Everybody gets so uptight, they kind of forget that everyone is just as human as everyone else. But not you, though. You're different. That's what I mean.
Well, I want to wish you all the luck in the world, Teak.
That's too bad.
What is?
I sure would like to work with you. I hear that you are the best.
Well, I don't teach acting here anymore. I'm head of the talent department now. Of course, I coach some, but just in special cases. It's nice to hear that somebody said something good about me. Who was it, Grace?
Well, no, ma'am, no. Actually, it was myself.
You?
Yeah. I told it to myself the first night we met. I said to myself, now, that lady, you and she can communicate real good. She could teach you a lot.
Well, if I had a class, I'd accept you into it, if that means anything.
That means a whole lot.
I've got to get back to my office.
Miss Dean.
Mm-hmm.
I do all right as far as money goes. Well, I mean, I make out pretty good at the club. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't have to rush into any job, especially if I don't think I'm ready.
Are you talking about that picture Grace has for you?
Let me ask you something. Now, you say you're still coaching in special cases, is that right?
Yes.
All right, would you be willing to take me on, to coach me or teach me, however you want to put it? You see, when I do something, I go prepared. I ain't got time to fail. I got too many places to go, and I want to get to all of them before I get fitted for my pine box.
Well, you're a little young to be worrying about something like that.
Well, I've been a man since I was 12 years old. That's a head start on most.
Yes, I suppose it is.
You, I bet you didn't get to be a woman till you were quite a bit older.
Why do you say that?
Oh, I just know. How do you know anything about anybody? You just know it. And about some people more than others. You see, I don't want to make any false starts. I don't want to fall flat on my backside. When I get to be an actor, I'm going to be a star right off. Just like when I walked into that record company in Nashville. I walked in and I said, Mister, my name is Teak Howell, and I am going to make a record for you. It's one of these bushy-haired guys with his bushy beard to match and this shiny vest on and these brass buttons up and down it. He just looked at me and he said, no way, boy. And I smiled and I took out my guitar and I started singing him a few songs. And he just looked at me, and then he was in and out, and he'd bring in this cat and that cat, and I wasn't paying him no mind. And I didn't leave that office until I had a record contract, because I knew I was ready, just like I know I ain't ready for acting in pictures yet. But you're gonna make me ready. You're gonna teach me. You're gonna learn me how to play a scene. Now, Miss Dean, you got nothing to say about this. That's just how it is. I'll be seeing you.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You got to help me make a stand. Just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. I've seen fire, I've seen rain, I've seen sunny days I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find.
You were here before to see Teak, weren't you?
Yep.
He's right on, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all right?
Oh, that's fine, dear. Thank you.
I'll be back in a minute to get you a drink.
Okay.
I've seen rain. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend, but I always thought that I'd see you again.
I wasn't expecting you so late.
I was at a screening at the... What do you mean so late? Were you expecting me at all?
Oh, sure. Well, I found me 2 mock turtle hearts, a pair of butterfly wings, a gopher's tongue, stuck them in the ground, stamped my foot 3 times, faced the south, and I said, skies are blue, grass is green. I request Miss Laura D.
And lo and behold.
It works every time. And now it's your turn. You got any magic up your sleeve?
How about this?
Now, that couldn't be a contract.
No, that's right. It couldn't be. It's the scene I want to work on with you.
Well, gosh dang.
Oh, what are you gosh danging about? You practically browbeat me into it.
One trick I didn't have too much confidence in. Talking to you like I did yesterday.
Maybe you don't know your own strength. Anyway, it's a scene about a boy and a girl. And Rachel Holt, you've probably seen her in some of our movies. She's going to do the scene with you. And I think you'll be very good together. She's the right age for you, and...
Now, wait a minute. Now, what has age got to do with anything? Come on.
Well, let me tell you something about the story. It's about 2 young people in their 20s. And, well, you should be able to identify with the man, Teak. His name is Charlie Davis, and he's a small-town boy from New Mexico. And, he's quite young, but he's got 100 years of living behind him.
Well, then really, he could mix with people of any age, couldn't he?
Yes. Tell me, how did you start singing professionally?
Oh, I've been singing all my life. I was a big star in high school. I cut my first record just before I graduated. It was pretty good, too. And then on to Nashville, and then from there I got the money to come on out here.
And now this.
well, not right off. It was pretty rough at first, you know, new boy in town and all that. Well, I met some good people, and it seems I got this eye for people. This lady I used to know, she knew the cat who owned this place, and, well, he heard me singing, and he hired me on the spot. Then one night, Grace Douglas came in here. She asked me if I had an agent. I told her no. She said, well, you do now. Before I even had a chance to ask her what kind of ideas she had for me, I was her second client. She sure beats the wind.
Chutzpah is her daughter's word for it.
What's that mean?
It sure beats the wind.
Of course, now that ain't my whole story. That ain't been written yet. We are working on that now.
Have you ever done any acting?
Nope. That don't mean I can't.
Oh, well, confidence is helpful.
I got plenty of that.
Well, you do a good job in your songs. Really. You make each one a performance. It's very honest.
Well, I just try to get the feel of a song and go with it.
Well, that's marvelous, because that's what acting's all about. You find something in the character, and then you go with it, honestly. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you just give me a few weeks to get used to that kind of talk, and I'll be way ahead of you. You know, this is the beginning of something. You feel that too, Laura Dean?
I hope this is the beginning of a very successful career for you, Teak. Well, I better get going home. I have a long drive to the beach.
You know, I just got one more set to play. Why don't you just leave your car here tonight, and I'll drive you home.
That's very sweet of you, Teak. But I need my car in the morning, and besides, I complain about it, but I really love the drive home. I smell the ocean, and I'm revived. Now, here, you take this scene, and you work on it. And, get in touch with me at the studio, okay?
I will get in touch.
Ann, call Helen Clary's agent, will you, on the phone?
Yes, mister.
Don't look at me like that, Laura.
Oh, Helen Clary isn't half the actress Jenny Wingate is, and you know it. I don't mean to step out of line, but do you practice what you preach?
Do I practice what I preach?
Mm-hmm.
Of course not.
Well, you talk about good pictures, important pictures, and yet you won't compromise for talent. You could adjust the schedule around her. 8 weeks is plenty of time.
10 weeks is better.
But you can make do with 8 and get a superior performance.
All right, Laura. I'll think it over. Is that all?
Yeah. Except that I'm going to start working with somebody I think is very exciting.
New talent?
A potential big talent. Grace Douglas's new client, T. Cowell.
It's a waste of time, Laura. You know as well as I do we're not signing any new talent except for a specific part.
I'll call it a hunch. But, anyway, there's something coming up soon that I think you might be right for. I'll let you know when the scene is ready.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you, Laura. Yes.
Miss Clary's agent.
Laura.
Yeah.
I'll go with Jenny Wingate. Call Business Affairs. We'll settle for 8 weeks.
Good.
Mr. Bracken?
Well, hello, Mrs. Douglas.
I know this is an aggressive thing to do, but you're so busy during the week.
That's true. That's why I try to relax on the weekend.
Yes. I've been struggling with something, Mr. Bracken, and I know of no better way to deal with it than to discuss it with you because it involves you. Or you in the studio.
Then I'd appreciate you call my secretary and make an appointment at the office.
But I can't wait 10 days or 2 weeks.
If that is the state of my schedule, then I'm afraid you'll have to wait. Good day, Mrs. Douglas. Mrs. Douglas, now that you're here, you might as well tell me what's on your mind.
Thank you. It's about my client, T. Cowell.
T. Cowell. T. Cowell. I don't seem to be able to avoid that name.
I have this picture for him.
I'm delighted. How does that involve me?
Well, you see, the deal isn't set yet because he wants to go through some coaching first. What I mean is he wants to go through a lot of preliminaries that have nothing to do with the picture, at least not that picture.
Yes.
Laura Dean is coaching him in her spare time.
Her spare time is her own.
She's hurting Teak.
Laura Dean is an experienced professional. She's incapable of hurting any actor.
Mr. Bracken, Laura is getting involved with Teak, which is important only in that it keeps her from giving objective advice, the kind of advice she normally would give, like, take the part.
Mrs. Douglas, if you have a personal problem with Laura Dean or any other member of my staff, you go to them directly. In the meantime, excuse me, I have something important to straighten out. My carburetor.
What time you get off work? About 9, 10?
Mr. Harris usually lets me go when the dinner crowd thins out. I mean, ain't no use to have 3 waitresses around, just a handful of customers. So, the other girls can do it.
I'll go have me a beer in the bar and wait for you.
You're wasting your time.
Oh, now, Joanne, now, you know how things have been breaking for me. Look, I was the 3rd biggest money earner on the circuit last year.
Oh.
Why, I got to watch out for all that cash. Me and my daddy, we spend a whole lot of time looking for investments. I got personal appearances at fairs and supermarkets and stuff like that. And, well, you just got to understand, sweetheart, I'm just plain dog-tired busy.
Oh. Look, all I expected from you was a phone call now and then, that's all.
I did not even have time to call my own sister.
Oh.
And she had a baby.
Oh, Charlie Davis, you are a hit-and-run fella. You thought I wouldn't mind, but I do.
I'm at the Heritage Hotel. You give me a call when you're through.
Well, I didn't think of a kiss right there in the scene, but if you felt it, I really felt it.
Miss Dean, that was for real.
And that is your Frankenstein monster. You be subtle with it and it'll respond to you, but if you're obvious and heavy-handed, oh, it'll turn on you.
Well, what do I say to it?
Just behave. No, I mean that, literally. The camera picks up how a person behaves and reacts and responds, as well as how they perform.
I'm not so sure that we are going to get along.
You'll get along all right. Just keep your concentration on the reality of the scene. What's happening? The camera photographs what you're thinking. So the less you do, the better.
You know something? Tomorrow, I'm going to go back on that set and make that camera like me. Boy, that thing really is a monster, isn't it?
It corrupts.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I guess it could make a man spend a lot of time worrying about how he looks.
When he should be worrying about the part.
Hey, now, don't do that.
Don't do what?
You're putting me on. You're poking fun at the way I talk.
Well, you talk funny.
You think so, huh?
Yep.
Well, do you think that this is funny?
Nope.
You ever been married?
No. I was involved with a man for a long, long time. Too long.
Who was he?
A very fine drama coach.
Well, what happened?
Well, he started to pay too much attention to his girl students.
He must have been crazy when he had you to come home to.
What about you?
Well, I run off with a girl before I was 16.
Did you get married?
And what we got was to the county line. Her daddy called ahead of the police. They picked us up and told us to head on home.
Any more trips to the county line?
No, that cured me. I tell you, though, them girls are thinking about it all the time. The girls are, not the women. It's a funny thing when you're a singer. You're like one of those old-time troubadours. The women tend to want to take you home.
Have you made a career of women?
Well, a man has got to get along.
You know, the smartest thing I could possibly do right now would be to get up and go over to that door and hold it open for you.
You know, Laura Dean, sometimes you can get very childish. A real grown-up, mature woman would just stay right there and forget all about the door.
Bill Ray's outside. He wants to know if he can put off his cutting session with you until tomorrow morning.
No, wait, tonight, 7 to 11:30. Tell him we'll have sandwiches in the projection room. Find out what he likes.
Right. Tongue and Swiss on rye for you?
Mm-hmm. Tell me what T. Cowell's done.
Well, there's no film on him yet. But I know when
Laura, you know how I feel about new talent. I'm all for it, but,
Kevin Teague is Charlie Davis in your script. It's uncanny.
I practically got Charlie Davis cast.
Who'd you get?
Richard Burnside. You originally suggested him, now that I think of it.
Richard is a beautiful actor, but he has to act it. Now, Teague doesn't have to force a thing. His natural quality is just right. Kevin, I am very high on him.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Laura. Richard's agent is making some outlandish demands. He'll give in, but he has to express himself first. I imagine it'll be a week, maybe even 10 days before he decides to do me a favor and accept the offer. Meantime, if you can show me some film on your boy.
Unfortunately, there's that dictum from Bracken, no tests. If you could just meet Teague.
Laura, I'll take your word that he is what you think he is. But there's no chance that a role is important without seeing some film on him first.
You've got such a trained eye.
Not that trained.
Well, what's a young actor supposed to do? He can't get a part without film, and he can't get film without a part.
I know the problem.
Well?
Film, Laura, film.
Goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye.
I'd be here, didn't you?
I didn't think that.
Well, it's the fourth rodeo on the circuit. It always has been and always will be.
I didn't think about it.
Well, what time you get off work? 9? 10?
As soon as the dinner crowd slows down, Mr. Harris usually lets me go. Ain't no need for 3 waitresses if there's just a handful of customers. Besides, the other girls can do it.
Well, I'll go have me a beer in the bar and wait for you.
You're wasting your time.
Now, look, you know how things...
What time is it?
Rachel!
I've got an appointment at the photographer's at 9. Now, I told you that before we began.
Well, you also told me you'd be happy to help out on Teague's test.
And I am. And I'm glad to do the favor. But I can't just give up a gallery sitting.
I'm terribly sorry, Rachel. I had no idea it was so late.
Just let me know a little in advance when you shoot the test, okay? And I'll make sure I'm free, I promise.
Okay, Rachel. Thanks.
You're gonna be good.
Thanks, Rachel.
Lots of luck, Teague.
Bye-bye. It didn't do so good, huh?
Rachel was rushing it.
You think so?
I know.
Well, I don't know.
What else is it, Teague? When we worked on it down at the beach, you were doing beautifully.
That's because I was working with you.
You mean you were more comfortable with me?
Maybe that's it.
That is how you become a classroom actor. I know, I was one. Teak, there's such a thing as being too comfortable. You know, when you start working professionally, you're going to be playing with actors that you don't know, and whose acting techniques are going to be entirely different from anything you've been taught. And it's going to be your job as an actor to make the whole thing work.
You know something? Sometimes you get awful teachy.
Teak.
I know. Not here.
Teak, you and Rachel are going to be very good together on film. Rachel's the right age for the part. And the right age for you.
Oh, now you are not going to start with that age stuff again, are you? Huh? Well?
No.
Huh? If you want to know, there's only one way I'm going to make this thing go. I mean, I know me, and I know what works for me.
What way's that?
You were going to have to do the test with me.
Cut. Print. That's a wrap.
It's very good.
Yes?
Mr. Bracken, there's one more piece of film, sir.
All right.
All right, John. You wanted to show me some film?
I wanted to show you some film.
Yeah, I got a message from Mitch that said
It was my idea.
Test 4211, Teak Howell. Take 6.
Teak Howell?
Well, now, you knew I'd be here, didn't you?
I didn't think about it.
Well, it's the 4th rodeo on the circuit. It always has been, and always will be.
No, I didn't think about it.
Now, what time you get off work? About 9, 10?
Oh. Mr. Harris usually lets me go when the dinner crowd slows down. I mean,
You're testing with him?
yeah, ain't no use to having 3 waitresses with just a handful of customers, so the other girls can do it.
Well, I'll go have me a beer in the bar and wait for you.
Oh, you're wasting your time.
And you're wasting mine. Kill it.
Oh, John, please, see it through.
If you had second thoughts about Richard Burnside playing the role, come to me and tell me about them. A sneak test. What is this, a high school film society? This is a major motion picture studio.
Kevin had absolutely nothing to do with it. I arranged the test.
What does the cost break down?
I hitchhiked on to one of our TV companies. The crew was all there. It can't be exorbitant.
He was wardrobed and the set was dressed. Kevin, give me a minute with Laura, will you please?
John, did you really take a look at Teak Howell? He obviously doesn't have the experience that Richard Burnside has, but I don't know, maybe we should run that test again and consider him. He has the right personal quality.
Kevin. Well,
I gambled.
with studio time and money.
I gambled that you'd have a detached and professional reaction to an interesting young actor.
You gambled after I had a memo sent around, which you initialed, stating no more tests, no exceptions.
John, now, if you're concerned about studio protocol, please accept my apology. But you have to understand, I couldn't care less about executive orders and memos that are sent around and saying, please initial here after you've read.
Just a minute now. I refuse to play the role of the insensitive tyrant wrapped up in a computerized world, and you are not very well cast as a rebellious artist. What we are talking about here are personal feelings. Your personal feelings, and the confusion in your mind about those personal feelings in your job.
That's not fair.
Isn't it? When you tell me you couldn't care less about executive orders, why are you pushing this young man?
I'm pushing this young man because I think he's a very interesting young actor. And as far as anything else goes, I really don't think that's any of your business.
It is my business when your private adventures warp your professional judgment.
My professional judgment is not warped.
I disagree.
I see. Well, then I don't think I can be of any further use to you.
I agree.
Now, how long have you been standing there?
I saw your test this afternoon, Teak.
You've got a real ominous tone, lady.
Well, the lack of working experience shows, but the natural quality is there, too.
Was I good or bad?
You were everything I thought you'd be. Promising.
Well, that's good, ain't it?
Yes. Teak, Teak, did you ever hear the name LaGuardia?
Sure. That's an airport in New York.
Oh, it was named after a man who used to be mayor. Anyway, he said he didn't make many mistakes, but when he did make one, it was a beaut. Well, that's what I've done, Teak. I've made a beaut.
A beaut, huh?
It's over, Teak.
Oh, I always knew you'd walk out on me. You're just plain scared, lady. You're plain scared of a man who acts like a man. Scared of saying to yourself, yes, sirree, I'm going to pick me that one fella right there over all the others, and I'm going to stay with him.
Oh, please, Teak, let's not analyze each
Found
other.
your cop out right at the start, didn't you? You got a few years on me, and ain't that awful? Well, you took that argument and you put it right in your pocket, and you kept it till you needed it. For some reason, you needed it today.
No, there aren't any reasons.
You needed me
Teak,
for a
don't
few
look
days, for a
for
few
them.
weeks, and then you didn't need me anymore?
Oh, no.
Then you just decided it was
No.
over, just like that? No talk, no discussion, just wham, it's over?
But isn't it better this way?
Sure it is, if it comes from me.
Well, wouldn't it have come from you? In a little while?
Maybe.
Teak, I couldn't have blamed you. After all, I knew you for what you were from the first time we met. Sitting right over there. All that country boy innocence. I knew and I didn't care.
You're right. I ain't no country boy. I ain't been a country boy since the day I was born. But I learned real fast that it was a good part to play. I took advantage of you to get the movie career that I knew would take a lot longer on my own. But a funny thing happened while I was taking advantage.
Don't say you started to feel something, please.
All right. I won't say it.
Teak. Good luck.
Yes?
Laura Dean to see you, sir.
Have you finished typing that letter yet?
Almost.
When you're through, bring it in.
Right.
And send Laura in.
Yes, sir.
Hello, John.
Laura?
Cleaned out my office, so I came to say goodbye.
Well, you do well, Laura. You're going to take a vacation, I suppose?
I don't know. I don't have any plans. Well, I miss this place. The Lion's Den.
Yes, we've had some pretty good arguments here, haven't we? And a couple of calm moments, too.
Here it is, Mr. Bracken.
Thank you, Aunt. I've addressed this to whom it may concern. Sit down, will you? I'll read it to you. When I finish, you can make suggestions or additions or say whatever you want, which I'm sure you will do anyway. Well, here goes. To whom it may concern, I doubt if anyone in the industry is not familiar with the name Laura Dean, but in the event that her work at Century Studios has escaped your attention, first, she has served as talent supervisor, recommending young actors and actresses, developing them and their talents until they could stand on their own. She has generally helped keep Century contemporary on both features and television. The following are a few of her, I've gone on here now to list about a dozen of your discoveries. Second, and most important, Miss Dean has functioned in a capacity without portfolio, serving me personally as an aide and advisor in matters of production as well as casting. In other words, the lady made her own job. If you will permit a personal note, I have often found myself walking down the corridor to her office to seek her advice. Please feel free to phone me or to write for any detailed information. Sincerely, John Bracken. What?
It's more than I deserve.
Well, I could cut it down a bit.
If you sign it, I'll take it with me now.
Laura? Ann?
Yes, sir?
Has business affairs settled up Laura Dean's contract yet?
They're working on it now.
Well, call him right away and tell him to forget it.
Laura's not leaving?
Call the front gate. See if you can catch her before she leaves the studio.
Yes, sir.
I was saying goodbye to Anne, Mr. West.
Well, you heard.
Yes.
I started to think if I got a letter like that, people talking about an employee that way, I think the man was out of his mind not to hold on to her. As far as I'm concerned, you still have a contract here. That is, if it's all right with you.
Yes.
Oh, sit down. Have you read Morton Holloway's new script?
Yes, I have. And, Oh, there's some marvelous parts in there for European character actors.
Yes, I know that, but I'm thinking about the leads. I think a couple of complete unknowns. You know, some talented kids, say with a little small theater experience.
Oh, John, there's a girl up in San Francisco in a workshop. Oh, she is so Julie Harris, she's scary.
Didn't you mention a young man who went to one of Jack Crane's classes?
I certainly did. But, John, I really think we should bring in a dozen or more and read them and then maybe test 3 or 4. No tests. I promise. No tests.
All right. I'll meet you at 4 o'clock this afternoon in my projection room. Have a complete cast breakdown, will you?
Right. See you. Listen, dear, I'm rushing. I don't have a minute.
I know. But I want you to take a look at this little girl. She's an angel, but sexy. Another Marilyn. I mean it.
I told you we're not signing anyone.
Well, all I'm asking you to do is take a look at her at your leisure. You know, whenever you have a minute.
All right. How about 5 o'clock tomorrow, my office?
Marvelous.
By the way, how's Teak doing?
Oh, you know, Teak, he'll always get along.
Is he working? At acting, I mean.
Well, don't say anything, but I think I got him a series. One of the 3 leads.
Well, that's all he needs, a little exposure, and then he's on his way.
Oh, listen, you know something? Now, I heard Teak read for that part in the series, and he was good. Yeah, well, he owes you a great deal. Well, you're coaching him. It really made a big difference. Sometimes I wonder if he knows how much of a difference.
Doesn't matter. I'll see you, Grace.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
After this message, Bracken's World will preview some scenes from next week's show.